But before we get to look onto purchase orders, there was a question that arose from our last session. That is on how to correct wrongly keyed item entries. When you key in the wrong item, how do you make correction to that? Maybe you key in the wrong item quantity. You key in the wrong item price. How do you adjust that? So let's first of all look into that before we get on to see how can we create purchase orders. And the very first one that we'll start with is how to change your inventory quantity. How to change your inventory quantity. Now, to change your inventory quantity, move over to vendors. Move over to vendors. Vendors are suppliers. So move over to suppliers. Suppliers. Once you click on suppliers, down here, we have the option stock activities. Stock activities has more options to the right. Over here, we have the stock center, new item, adjust quantity or value on hand, physical stock worksheet, and build assemblies. What we want to do is to adjust the quantity or value on hand for our assets. Click on adjust quantity or value at hand. From here, you have the option to select what type of adjustment are you making or what type of adjustment are you doing. What type of adjustment are you doing? Click on the drop down, you get a list of adjustments. Over here, you can be doing 3 types of adjustments. Number 1, you can be adjusting the quantity only. Number 2, the total value. And number 3, the quantity and total value. What does this mean? Number 1, if you adjust the quantity only, it means that the total value is not going to be adjusted. If you adjust the total value, this is the quantity times the unit cost or the unit price of your items. Adjusting the total value means that you are only making adjustment to the total value. Probably you keyed the wrong one and therefore you want to change it. Your quantity wouldn't be affected. Quantity and total value. This adjusts your quantity and the total value of your items. Notice that price is not here. Later on after this, we are going to check on how to adjust our what? How to adjust our price. Once you select the adjustment type, I'm going to choose on quantity and total value. Why? So that after I adjust my quantity, I want the total value of my items to change accordingly. I will click on quantity and total value. Adjustment date. Click on the calendar icon to choose the right adjustment date. I'm going to leave it by default because QuickBooks picks today's date, which is well. Adjustment account. Which account is going to be affected by this adjustment? Select the relevant account from the drop-down list. I'm going to leave it at sales, which is an income account. Over here, you have got the reference number. For each and every adjustment that you make, there will always be a unique reference number. QuickBooks automatically updates your reference number as you continue to do the adjustments. Notice mine is reference number 2. Why? I had already made another adjustment which picked reference number 1. So QuickBooks automatically renames this to reference number 2. I'll leave it there by default. Customer job. Do you want to adjust this item quantity and value to suit any customer? If well, you are going to select the specific customer to whom you are adjusting the quantity and total value. For now, none. I will leave it blank. Come down here and select your items that you want to make the adjustment for. Over here, when you click on item, a drop-down list appears here. Click on the drop-down. A drop-down list of all your items that you have keyed or that you have within your system appears here. Notice you need to know the right item for against which you are doing the adjustment. Choose the item, for instance, Bozoi vodka. Every description or every detail about the item pops up in this window. Over here, we have quantity on hand is 100. assuming you did wrong stock take and therefore you want to adjust this quantity on hand. Don't do it here because you won't have the option to change it from quantity on hand. Instead, move over to new quantity. Key in the new quantity that you need. Maybe I understated by 100. So I want to adjust it to 200. Just key in 200. That is the total quantity that you're supposed to have. Everything automatically updates. Notice that the quantity difference is 100. You have got 200, and therefore your new value is 60,000. If there are any items against which you need to make adjustment, move over to the second row, click on the drop-down, and choose the specific item. Maybe, for instance, KWV brandy. Every information pops up about it. In the new quantity, I adjust it to, say, for instance, 150. The difference is 53, and my new value becomes to 75,000. Down here, I have the total value of adjustments against this reference number. So if this reference number is checked reference number 2 of adjustment, this information will pop up. Do you want to leave any message? The memo is important. Why? You may leave a reason as to why you are doing the adjustment of the quantity here. Say, for instance, under memo, you can say wrong entry of stock take. Wrong entry of stock take. That is the reason as to why you are doing your adjustment, because you did a wrong entry of your stock take. Once you are done, if you have got any document that you want to attach to support this, over here, you have the option to do what? To attach. Click on this option, attach, so that you are able to attach any document that will help support your adjustment, if you have any. Once you are done, save and close, or save and new if you want to continue doing your adjustments. And with that, your items are now adjusted. Let's move over to lists. Item list. And see if they are adjusted. What did I adjust for? I adjusted number 1 for KWV brandy. Notice that my KWV brandy, the total is now 150. And the price is indicated here, 1,000. That is why the total price was coming to 150,000. What else did I adjust for? I again adjusted for Bozoi vodka. I adjusted for Bozoi vodka to quantity 200. So everything has been automatically reflected. Notice that this is not how you make adjustments when you make purchase orders. When you do purchase orders and receive your items, the quantity will automatically be adjusted in your system. In a few, we are going to look at creating purchase orders and see how it's going to affect our item quantity in stock. That is changing item quantity. Just for a quick recap, you move over to suppliers, stock activities, adjust quantity or value on hand. Suppliers, stock quantity, adjust quantity or value on hand. How do we adjust for prices? How do we adjust for prices? That is quantity, but how do we adjust for item prices? To adjust our item prices, move over to customers, move over to customers. From customers, move over to change item prices. The last item, change item prices. Change item prices. Sorry. Customers, then change item prices. Once you do that, choose the right type of items that you want to change their prices. Is it your service? Is it a stock part or non-stock part? I'm going to choose on stock part because that's what we want to adjust. So click on stock part. This displays a list of all your items that you have. Notice that you can do individual adjustment, or you can do adjustment to all of these products at once. Let me show you how. Number one, if you want to do individual price adjustment, select on the respective item first, then adjust the price. Like for instance, we want to adjust the price of, maybe for example, Caesar's vodka. Maybe we want to adjust the price of Caesar's vodka. Beside Caesar's vodka, there's a checkbox. Check on that box. Beside the individual item, check on that box. Here, we have current price and we have the new price. And a new price, key in the price that you want to change. Here, we have 500. Say, for example, we want to change it to 600. So key in 600 and a new price. That automatically adjusts your item price to 600. That is doing individual adjustment. What about you want to do adjustment to all these products and say, for example, by the same price? What do? Make sure that you select all your items. Just tick on all the items that you want to adjust. If you have got a lot of items, you have many items that you want to adjust their prices. Down here, you have the option Mark All. Check on this box for Mark All, and all your items will be selected. Once you are done, down here, adjust price of marked items by amount or percentage. By what amount do you want to adjust these item prices? Say, for example, I want to adjust them by 50 shillings each. Or you want to adjust the prices of each of your items, say, for example, by 5%. So you want them to increase by 5%. Maybe because of various factors, it could be inflation, it could be any other reason. You want to adjust the price of each and every item by 5%. Notice the difference between keying in 5% and 50 shillings. When you key in 5%, it's going to be 5% of this value of this current price that we have. 50 shillings, if this is 500, is going to increase by 50. So it's going to be 550. If you need it in percentage, you're going to key in percentage here. If you need the amount, you're going to key in the amount here. So I'll leave it at amount 50. Based on how do you want to adjust your current prices? Do you want to adjust your current prices based on cost or based on current price? Clicking on the drop down gives you the option. Number one, unit cost, and number two, current price. Unit cost is the amount at which you purchase these goods for resale. Is that the basis against which you want to do the adjustment? Or you want to do the adjustment based on the current price? I will choose on current price. Based on your organizational policies, you will choose the right option. Once you are done, over here, click on adjust. Click here on adjust. Notice that all items have now been automatically adjusted and their prices have been automatically adjusted. Banoch Brai initially costed 650. After the adjustment by 50 shillings, it now costs 700 shillings. Black Bozoi vodka, 450 to 500, 670, 720, 3570, 3620. So all of them have been automatically adjusted by 50 shillings. Suppose you want to do adjustment to all your items, that is the easiest way to adjust your item prices. If you want to adjust individual items, just select on the individual item against which you want to adjust their prices and then make the adjustments. Once you're done, click on OK. So I believe that works out. And if you cross-check against the original prices that we had here, you can notice that the prices have been adjusted. You can notice that the prices have been adjusted. So that is how you make changes to your item price and quantities. That is how you make changes to your item price and quantities. The next thing is keying in Brenda using percentage. Instead of keying 50 shillings, you'll just key in 50%, and that will automatically be adjusted. You just add the percentage beside 50, or maybe if you want to adjust by 5%, you just type 5%. You just move over here to customers, change item prices, stock part, all your stock will appear. If you want to adjust for all of them, you mark all. Then here, where you have amount or percent, just type 5%, like that. If maybe that is the adjustment that you want to make. Once you are done, click on adjust. It says the field contains an illegal character. All right, just a minute. %. I don't know what I did. I'm really not sure what I did. I'm not sure what I've clicked. Customers, change item prices, stock part. Masara, next time you join early, kindly. Next time you join early. 5%. Then you adjust. So make sure that the percentage comes after the decimal. Make sure that the percentage comes after the decimal. So that will adjust each and every item price by 5%. So if you calculate 5% of 700, it's going to be 35. So the new price will be 5% of 700 plus 700, which is actually 735. 5% of 500 will be 25. So 500 plus 25 will be 525. So it automatically calculates the percentage that you're going to specify for each line item. Once you are done, make sure that before you say OK, you click on this option over here, adjust. Then once you are done with the adjustments, click OK. And everything will be automatically reflected. Everything will be automatically reflected. All right. Now, that is how we do adjustment to item quantity and price. That is how we do adjustments to item quantity and price. Next, I just recalled that before I move over to purchase orders, I need to show you something regarding fixed assets. So how do you key in fixed assets in your system? And once again, before we move on to key in transactions, we need to have a relevant bank account. So how do we create a bank account? How do we create a bank account? Remember, last time we did invoices, we did receipts, but we didn't direct any of these items to a specific bank account. Reason being, yes, please, Maureen. Yes, if you're adjusting downwards, it remains the same, but you need to indicate negative. So before you say 50, instead of 50, you're going to say negative 50. Instead of saying 5%, you're going to say minus 5%. That is how you adjust downwards, because it has no option for either increase or decrease. It's different from the depreciation window, where you've got the option for increase or decrease. So for the items, if you are increasing, you just type, if you're increasing by 5%, you just type 5%. If you're decreasing by 5%, you just say minus 5%. So the procedure is just the same. So I was saying that for all the transactions that we have done, we haven't yet deposited our funds. And therefore, that could mean that we don't have a relevant bank account. So we need to open a relevant bank account. Notice that before we open that, I want to show you, first of all, how to key in fixed assets. To key in fixed assets, move over here to lists. Then you have fixed asset item list. Lists, fixed asset item list. This shows you 0 fixed assets. Down here, we have the option item. If you click on item, here we have the option new. Click on new. Then here, we are able to make entries for our fixed assets. The first thing that we need to do is to key in our asset name. Say, for example, the asset name is motor vehicle. All right. Let me just pardon. Some people are lost. Let me pardon. Some people are lost. To key in fixed assets, move over to lists, item list. Sorry, not item list, but fixed asset item list. Lists, fixed asset item list. So click on fixed asset item list. Once on this window, you will get a blank window or a window with items, depending on how you work within your system. If you want to key in a new asset, there are two options which you can use. Number one, right-click on your mouse and click on New. Right-click on your mouse and choose on New. Or number two, down here, I have this option here for item. To the very bottom, item. Click on this item. You have the option New. Click on New. It lands you to the same window. Then here, you have got the option to choose on your what? Asset name. Choose on your asset name. You may have different assets. Say, for example, if it is motor vehicle, you can have different types of motor vehicles. You have a Subaru, you have a V8, you have the other one for business Probox, or whichever type of vehicle that you have. So key in the name of your asset. Say, for instance, I'm going to key in V8. That's the name of my asset. Under asset account, choose the relevant asset account that this particular asset that you are keying in is going to affect. For instance, motor vehicle. Which account is going to be affected here for motor vehicle? Over here, you have a list of accounts. And remember, this is what comes from your chart of accounts. And therefore, once again, I will show you another way of keying in fixed assets instead of moving directly to the lists. Over here, because I already have a motor vehicles account and V8 will affect my motor vehicles account. Notice I have two accounts for motor vehicle. Number one, motor vehicles cost, and number two, motor vehicles depreciation. So if I was to record depreciation for motor vehicles, I'd choose depreciation. For now, I'm recording the cost of motor vehicle. So under motor vehicles, click on cost. If you find anything under an item that is indented to the right, notice that that account is a sub-account of that main account. For example, computer equipment. Before I get here, look at undeposited funds. There's nothing under it, meaning it is a lonely account. Accumulated depreciation. There's nothing under it, meaning it's a loan account. Computer equipment. Below computer equipment, you have cost and depreciation. That means that cost and depreciation are sub-accounts of this computer equipment. Below furniture and fixtures, we have cost and depreciation, meaning cost and depreciation are sub-accounts of these furniture and fixtures. How does this happen? Because you notice, for example, number one, we have computer equipment, we have cost and depreciation. Move over to furniture and fittings, you have cost and depreciation. It's important to split all these because in your balance sheet, you are going to be able to clearly have a fast track of the cost of your motor vehicle plus its associated depreciation. So if you are keying in depreciation for motor vehicle, you don't need to choose an overall depreciation account, but instead you choose depreciation under motor vehicle. If it is furniture and fixtures, you will choose depreciation under furniture and fixtures. Well, I believe that makes sense. For now, we are working on motor vehicle. Let's move over to motor vehicle, click on cost. So cost under motor vehicle. Here it writes motor vehicles, cost. We have purchase description. So here you have the option to choose whether this item is new or the item is used. If you click on the option item is used, you will key in the right details against which you need to do. If the item is new, you also need to key in these items. Sales description, is this item sold or not? If it is sold, you'll mark on this item sold. Over here, you'll be able to key in the sales date, the sales price, and the sales expense. For now, it's not sold. I leave it as it is. I'll move over and key in my purchase description. What was the description of this asset as at the time when I was purchasing it? Maybe, for instance, it is V8 3000 cc. So it's going to be what? It's going to be, for example, black V8 3000 cc, an example of a description of this particular asset. Upon sale, how do you want this description to be? I'll repeat the same thing. But notice that for the sales, you are not able to give the sales description because the item is not sold. If the item is sold, that is when you can key in the sales description. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Date. When did you purchase this item? Say, for example, I purchased this item in 2022. So I'll track back to 2022. Maybe say, for instance, January. So maybe I purchased it maybe on 1st of January, 2022. On 1st of January, 2022. Cost. At what cost did I purchase this machine? I purchased the machine, say for instance, at what cost? At 5 million. I purchased the machine at 5 million. Supplier or the payee. From where did I purchase this motor vehicle? I purchased this motor vehicle from German Motors. German Motors Limited. Notice that you can't key in the sales description items because you are not selling this item. The item is just bought. Down here, asset description. How would you describe your asset? I'm just going to repeat the same, but this will depend on how you will describe your asset. So I'll just leave it as it is. Here, I have location. Let me explain something about the location. Now, sometimes you are a business that has got a lot of branches. You're a business with branches in Nairobi. You have branches in Vihiga, Kakamega, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Naivasha, or whichever place where you have your branches. This asset is for the company, but it is not within Nairobi. Maybe it is somewhere else. Clearly indicate that this motor vehicle was bought for Nakuru branch. This motor vehicle was bought for Nakuru branch. So indicate clearly that the branch is Nakuru. Indicate clearly that the branch is Nakuru. PO number. This is purchase order number. What was your purchase order number when you wanted to purchase this asset? Say, for instance, PO 001. Just an example, PO 001. Serial number. Each and every fixed asset must always have a unique serial identification number. Over here, key in the serial number of your asset. Key in the serial number of your asset. Warranty expires. Each and every asset has a warranty. And each and every asset has got warranty validity. Some 1 year, some 2 years, some 5 years, or whatever period. Choose by clicking on the calendar icon when your warranty expires. Say, for instance, the warranty expires on 31st Dec 2023. Notes. Do you have any other information to attach for this particular asset? Say, for example, this particular machine has been bought for your director. So say for example, motor vehicle Say, for example, motor vehicle bought for what? For directors facilitation. Motor vehicle bought for directors facilitation. Motor vehicle bought for directors facilitation. Just an example. Once you are done, here you have the next option. That is, if you want to key in the next item, you click on next. Notice that that has been automatically saved. Key in the next item. And say, for example, your next item would be what? Your next item would be what? Maybe, say, chairs. Chairs. That is your next item, chairs. Asset account. What asset account is chairs? What if in the warranty, they've included number of kilometers as a warranty for the vehicle? So the system doesn't allow you to do that. It doesn't allow you to key in units as warranty, and that is one of the disadvantages of these softwares that you purchase from the provider. And therefore, in that instance, you may need to have your own customized software that will suit that. But anyway, what you can do is just maybe check on the date. Then once you've checked under the notes, you can indicate that in the notes. That is why you have the notes section. You can indicate that in the notes. You can just say that maybe the date is provisional, but the exact warranty is maybe the number of kilometers to be covered by the vehicle. When you indicate in the notes, it will make sense. Now we are keying in our next item. We are keying in our next item. And this item over here, I've said number one is chairs. Asset account. Which is the right asset account for what? For chairs. Is it office equipment? Is it furniture and fixtures? I will choose on furniture and fixtures at cost. Furniture and fixtures, cost. The asset is new. Purchase description, purchase description, purchase description. So you can give the purchase description of your chairs. You can give the purchase description of your chairs. Maybe, for instance, say, for instance, three-seater, black leather sofa, three-seater, black leather sofa. Just an example. So I will copy this. Then I paste it under asset description. I'll copy that, then I paste it under asset description. The date on which the asset was bought, say maybe, for instance, today. And the cost is maybe, for example, 500,000. 500,000. Wale watu wa Siaya, I'm sure this matches you. Supplier or payee account. Where did you buy this particular asset? I bought this asset from FFE Furnitures. FFE Furnitures. FFE Furnitures, for example. Location. This asset is in Nairobi. Note that the location is not the location from where you are purchasing the item. Note that the location is not the place where you are purchasing the item, but instead, it is the location where the asset is going to be based. Purchase order number, for instance, PO002, PO002. The serial number for my asset, I'm gonna key in the serial number for my asset. Warranty expires, maybe, for instance, in 2024. Warranty expires on that date of 2024. Do you have any notes for your asset? If yes, key in. Once you are done, click OK. Once you are done, click OK. Over here now, you have got a track of your fixed assets. You have chairs, you have V8. Of course, this will be your list of your fixed assets with their respective amounts. 500,000, motor vehicle is 5 million. But now, to key in or to see the relevant account balance, like for instance, if it is furniture and fixtures, say for example, you have chairs as your furniture and fixtures, but you also have another furniture and fixture. Let's right click and say new so that we add another fixed asset under furniture and fixtures. So say new. Under asset name, let's say for instance, tables. Let's say for instance, tables. Asset account is going to be furniture and fixtures cost. Purchase on description. This is what? What is this? What is this? This is round. This is round office table. This is round office table. This is round office table. The date of purchase, say for instance, on 1st November 2023, the cost of this table was maybe 100,000. The cost of this table was maybe 100,000. Supplier, maybe still FFE furnitures, FFE furnitures. Asset description, we'll just do the same. Asset description. Location, Nairobi. Location, Nairobi. Purchase order number, PO 003. Serial number, key in the serial number. Warranty expires, maybe on that particular date. No notes. Then I click OK. All right. So notice now that you have chairs, which is under furniture and fixtures. Again, you have tables, which is under furniture and fixtures. Now, how do you see the right balance of your furniture and fixtures? Well, I understand this may be available in the balance sheet. But would you generate your balance sheet each and every time? So would you be generating your balance sheet each and every time that you want to view your asset balance? No. To easily see this, your major account balance, move over to lists. Then here, you have chart of accounts. Lists, chart of accounts. So click on chart of accounts. The chart of accounts gives you a quick overview of how your assets are. So over here, you can be able to see a quick overview of maybe, for instance, we have got furniture and fittings. The cost hasn't been adjusted. Just a minute. Let me see. Let me see. Not that. Just a minute. Just a minute. Lists, then chart of accounts. Here I need motor vehicle. Motor vehicle. Here I need motor vehicle. Something is not working right here. Something is not working right here. I'm going to show you where the error is. I'm going to show you. All right, just a minute. I will show you where that is. But basically, that is how you key in what? That is how you key in your fixed assets. That is how you key in your fixed assets. So if you move over to lists and then you move over to your item list, you will see a list of all, sorry, not item list, but lists and then fixed asset item list. You will see a list of all your fixed assets. I'll show you how to view these respective account balances later on. I'll show you how to view this. Or is there somebody who was able to get these from the chart of accounts from their system? Is there somebody who was able to get the balances from the chart of accounts from their system? Somebody? Is there anybody from the chart of accounts? Are you able to see the overall balance of your furniture and fixtures and the overall balance of your motor vehicles? Anybody? All right, fine. Now, from here, let's open a bank account. From here, let's say that, for instance, we want to open a bank account. We want to open a bank account. We want to open a bank account. Well, you have got this banking tab here. But notice that when you move to the banking tab, you have no option to open a bank account. You have no option to open a bank account. You only have the option to make deposits and transfer funds. Therefore, first of all, we need to open a relevant bank account because we are going to start doing transactions. So first of all, move over to lists, then chart of accounts, lists, chart of accounts, lists, and then chart of accounts. From the chart of accounts, down here again, you have account. Come and click on this account, come and click on account, come and click on account, then say new. Account, and then new. Account, new. Now, I want you to notice this before we open a bank account. If, say, for instance, you have got different income categories. You may have income from sales. You may have income, maybe, for instance, from interests. If you are, for example, a loan company, you have got your major source of income as your interest income. That is the loan interest income. Is somebody talking? Apart from the loan income, maybe you may have discount incomes. You may have any other types of incomes that you have. So sales may not only be your income source. Notice that by default, you may only have sales as your income source within your system. So how do you add the others? Simply come here to lists, chart of accounts, then select on income. From here, you'll be able to add another income account. Notice that here you have product sales, service sales, discounts to customers, but you have more. It's not only these ones. This is just an example. Expense. Do you have many expense accounts? Maybe you have got advertising and promotion. You always want to classify them in different categories. You don't want to mix up things. So you need that if it is advertisement, you put it into its own account so that at the end of the period, you are able to clearly see what was my total expense for advertising and promotion? What was my total expense for office supplies? What was my total expense for legal fees, charitable organizations, if any, rent, if any, insurance, if any, and any other expenses that you incurred during the period? Come over, select on expense, say continue. You'll be able to key in your expense account that you want to create. You can also create fixed assets from here. Instead of moving to lists, fixed asset item list, you can basically come here and choose on your fixed asset that you want to create here. But notice that you cannot create something like, for example, say Subaru as your fixed asset account. No. You will create a motor vehicle account. Notice that you have got different types of fixed assets. You have buildings, land, machinery and equipment, vehicles, furniture, and fixtures. I want you to take this scenario. You have this software, but within the system, you don't have furniture and fixtures in your list of fixed assets. How do you add that? Move over here, choose on fixed assets, select on continue. In the next window, you'll be able to find the option to key in your fixed asset account. Key in the fixed asset account name. If it is a sub-account of any account, you'll be able to do that. And that is the same way you create depreciation and cost accounts against each asset list. For now, we want to create a bank account. So you select on bank. If, for instance, the main item line that you want to create the account for is not available here, you'll select on other current types. Then over here, you have the option to select your other item types. I believe that makes sense. For now, we are working with bank. So click on bank. Notice that you can create one for each cash account, such as petty cash, current, savings account, money market, and any other bank account that you want to do. For example, you are creating a bank account for your petty cash. You'll simply click on what? Continue. Over here, you key in the account name. Key in the account name. Say, for example, this is DTB Bank. This is DTB Bank. This is DTB Bank. Now, please, I want to make some clarification about this sub-account of. I want to make some clarifications about this sub-account of. Let's say, for example, you have got one bank account. You have got one bank account. Or let me say you have one bank, not one bank account. You have one bank. For example, you are banking with DTB Bank. Within DTB Bank, you've opened different bank accounts. For instance, you have a bank account which only is used for your payables. So number one, you will open a DTB bank account. You wouldn't put it as a sub-account of anything. You will only key in the bank account number and all that, or maybe even just the DTB bank itself, then you save and close. Once you're done, come back again and follow the same process and be here. If you are here, you are creating an account for payables within DTB bank. Just come and say payables. That will be your account name. Under the sub-account of, check on this box for sub-account of, click on the drop-down, then choose on your respective bank that you want to add to this. And therefore, your payables will be a sub-account of DTB Bank. So DTB Bank is your main account, but you are using it for different classifications. If it is accounts receivables, you will say your account name is account receivables. Sub-account of, you will say DTB Bank. I believe that makes sense. For now, we do not have any sub-account of. Let's leave it at DTB Bank. Description. Do you have any? Provide a description. Bank account number. What is your bank account number? Provide that. Do you have an opening balance for this bank account number? Let's say we have an opening balance. Click here, enter opening balance. Statement ending balance. Say, for example, 500,000. 500,000. That is our statement ending opening balance. From here, key in the statement ending date. When you click on the calendar-like icon, you are able to get a date. This opening balance that you are keying in, it is as of what date? Say, the opening balance is as at 30th of November, 2023. Choose on that date. Once you are done, click OK. Somebody said, I pardon the sub-account of part. The sub-account of, you may have different accounts tracked towards one account. For example, let me not use the bank. Let me use income. You have got different income sources. Your main account is income account, but you are getting income from different sources. For example, you are getting income from your major sales of your items. Number two, you are getting income from your side hustle. Number three, you are getting income maybe from your interest. You are offering maybe some financial services and you're getting interest from that. Number four, you are getting income from discounts that you allow to your customers. All those incomes, ladies and gentlemen, they will be sub-accounts of your main income account. At the end of the day, you can have your income as one, but you can always track them down. How are your line items contributing to your income? For instance, how is interest contributing to your income? That is the use of the sub-account of. The same applies in your banking. And just like I said, you may have one bank, for instance, DTB Bank. You are using it for different purposes. It is your policy that you will always separate your payables from your other items. Let me give you an example with this college. This college has got different products that it offers. Let's say, for example, we have these short courses. We have neck courses. We have CPA courses. If the income for CPA courses is not to be put together with the income for neck courses, and it is not to be put together with the income for short courses, but we are only banking with DTB Bank. DTB Bank is our main account. We are going to create another account for short courses, but a sub-account of DTB Bank. we are going to open another account for CPA courses, but a sub-account of DTB Bank. We are going to open another account for NEC courses, but a sub-account of DTB Bank. That is the use of the sub-account. BSES or the sort code. This is normally used to easily find out your what? Your bank location. So key in the BSE or the sort code if you have. So say for instance, DTB 004. Maybe for example, that is the sort code. Account holder's name. The account holder's name. Just a minute. I think I've keyed in a wrong digit here. Let me have that. Oops, what am I keying in? What did I key in? Oh, it should be at least 6 characters. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Should be at least 6 characters. Your sort code should be at least 6 characters. Now, here we have the account holder name. We have the account holder name. Notice, you may have an account. You may have a bank account for your business. But this bank account, for example, is registered under the director's name. So key in the account holder's name. If it is still the name of the business, just key in the name of the business. So make sure that you key in the account holder's name. Make sure that you key in the account holder's name. Building society number. Where is the location of this bank this DTB bank? Where is the location? Where is the location of this DTB bank? I'm gonna say maybe that is the location or that is the number of the street. Here you have the option, remind me to order checks when I print check number. Remind me to order checks when I print check number. Each and every time that you issue checks, your checkbook keeps on reducing its number of leaves. If it is 100 leaves, say for instance, on a daily basis, you print at least 10 check leaves. In that instance, you'd want your system to prompt you so that when you get maybe, for example, to a minimum of 80 leaves, or maybe, for example, 20 leaves, your system should be able to clearly remind you that you need to order new check. That is the use of this particular space here. So if you'll be using checks as your means of payments or as your means of receipt, then you need to clearly specify to your system. If you know very well that you will forget, let your system remind you that when your check number gets, for example, to 80, or maybe, for example, 20 leaves, then you need to order a new checks. Order checks I can print from Quickbooks. That means that you will be able to automatically, once you get to this 20, your system will remind you that you've gone below your minimum check limit. And therefore, it will allow you to print checkbooks from Quickbooks. Notice, this does not work in this offline system, and therefore, you will basically get a dummy checkbook. This works best where you have linked your bank account to your system. That is in the online Quickbooks system, where you can be able to easily link your system to the real banking system. If that is what you need, make sure that you check on this box. Once you are done, save and close. Set up online services, say no. Don't go online, say no. Okay, my system has decided to hang. Let me just give it some little time. Okay, let me just refresh this. Just close this small window. Okay, all right, fine. Now here, I have my DTB bank with a balance of 500,000. I have my DTB bank with a balance of 500,000. Notice that anytime I do transaction to this DTB bank, it will always affect my bank account. Now, let's move over to creating purchase orders. Creating purchase orders. Creating purchase orders. So how do you create a purchase order? 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 So to create a purchase order, 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 move over to, suppliers, move over to suppliers, move over to suppliers, move over to suppliers. Then from suppliers, you have the option create purchase orders. From suppliers, click on create purchase orders. From suppliers, create purchase order. This opens the window from where you need to create your purchase order. It opens the window from where you need to create your purchase order. Over here, choose on the relevant options that you need to fill in for your purchase order. Make sure that everything is rightly filled in. The first thing is to key in your supplier. From which supplier or to which supplier are you sending this purchase order? Click on the drop-down. A list of all your suppliers will be popped up. If not in the list, click on Add New, then add your new supplier. Let's say, for instance, we are ordering this from Bovi Int. Dropship to. Dropship to. Now, we have your supplier, Bovi Int. Over here, you have the options or you have the right address details of your company. That is under the ship to ABC Limited, 334 Nairobi. At some times, ladies and gentlemen, you may want to make this order, but you don't want this order to come to your business premises. You want this order, for example, to be taken to your business branch. That is number one. Number two, your supplier should forward this order to your customer directly. If you have a customer that is purchasing on bulk, you may want to ignore or you may want to move away from experiencing the transportation costs. So what you do is make this order and make sure that this order moves directly to your customer. I will show you later on where you bill your customer this. So our supplier is this. If you need to drop this to your customer, under drop ship to, click on this drop down, then a list of your customers will come in. If not available here, then you click on add new. That is in the case where you don't want this item to come to your own premises. We'll simply come and click on this and then choose on where you want this particular supply to go. For now, I will leave it as it is. Purchase order number. This will automatically be adjusted. It's currently 1. Supplier is Bovi Int, shipped to your own company. Remember, personally, I'm operating on ABC Limited. So if you don't see ABC Limited from your case, please, that is the name of your business. Once you've killed in the purchase order details, down here, come and select on the items that you are ordering. From the first line, there is this drop-down. Which item do I want to order from Bovi Int? Say, for example, Banoch Brai. I want to order Banoch Brai. Every information about Banoch Brai pops in. How many am I ordering from this particular supplier? Say, for example, I'm ordering 10 of Banoch Brai. Here, you have the option for your customer. And this is what I was telling you. If you want to bill this customer, well, you are ordering this directly from your supplier, but you don't want to incur this bill. You want your customer to incur this bill. Select the specific customer to which this bill is billable to. If none, leave it as it is. If there is any other item that you are ordering here, click on the drop-down, select on the respective item. For instance, Pipers. Choose on the quantity. Maybe, for instance, I'm ordering 50 pipers. Everything is automatically put here. Do you have any supplier message to leave? Maybe, for example, please deliver within 1 week. Please deliver within 1 week. Notice this will be printed at the footer of this purchase order. This information will be printed at the footer of this purchase order. I already explained about the memo part. Memo gives more information about this. If yes, do. If none, 7 close or 7 new if you want to continue keying in your purchase orders. I'm going to say 7 close because I don't want to create any other purchase order. Ignore all. And that is done. Now, you've created a purchase order. That is just the creation stage. What happens then when you receive these items? When you receive these items, you need to do that. You need to make the right entry to correspond receipt of your items. How do you do that? Over here, you have the option: enter bills, pay bills, create purchase orders, receive item and enter bill, receive items, enter bill for received items. Ladies and gentlemen, please note, you may decide to do this in different stages. Number one, we've just created a purchase order. Upon receipt of these items, you can decide that you receive these items and then you enter the bill at the same time. Or you first of all receive the items, then once you receive the items, then you enter the bills. Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the three-way order matching critique that we talked about. You may set your system in such a way that you have got different accountants. You have an accountant responsible for creating the purchase orders. You have an accountant responsible for receiving the items. You have an accountant responsible for entering the bills. That is why QuickBooks makes adjustments or makes allowance for all these activities. If you are one accountant, then it is you can always receive the items and enter bills at the same time. Let me show you the other way. To receive the items and enter bill, I'll click on the option receive items and enter bill. Just click OK. From here, I need to select the specific supplier from whom I want to receive the items. Now, the worst thing is that Mwalimu doesn't remember from which supplier I made the order. Mwalimu doesn't remember from which supplier did I make the order. Somebody to remind me. From which supplier did I make the order? From which supplier did I make my purchase order?
Bovi Int.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to choose on Bovi Int. The moment you click on Bovi Int, this pop-up box opens and it says open POs exist. POs means purchase orders. And it says open purchase orders exist for this supplier. Do you want to receive against one or more of these orders? Great. Say yes. The moment you click on yes, the purchase orders will appear here. And this is our purchase order. Suppose we had more purchase orders with this particular client, they will all appear here. For now, we only have one purchase order, and therefore, check on this purchase order. Check on this purchase order by ticking on this box here. Check on the purchase order by ticking on this particular box here. Once you are done, click OK. Suppose, before you click OK, let me show you this example. You had 2 outstanding purchase orders with Bovi Int, but the Bovi Int has only delivered 1 purchase order. In that instance, you'd only select on 1 purchase order against which you are receiving the items for. I'm going to show you that example in a few. Once you are done, click OK. Every information regarding that purchase order appears here. The amount due is 28,500. So it means that all these items cost 28,500. And these are the items, or this is the bill that you will need to pay Bovi Int. If you want to see the purchase orders, you can basically click here, show purchase orders. Customer job, if was any, you're going to key it in here. Billable, once again, once you choose on the customer job, then you're going to select here, if this amount, it is the customer who is going to bear this amount. Make sure that if it is the customer who is to pay this amount, make sure that you tick on this box. Once you are done, save and close, or save and new. If you want to continue doing the same, I'll save and close. Now, we've received the items and entered the bills. What is the next stage? The next stage is to pay the bills. How do we pay the bills? Once again, move back to your suppliers. Move back to your suppliers. Then say, pay bills. Say, pay bills. From here, all open bills will be reflected here. Notice, for now, we only have one open bill for Bovi Int, costing 28,500. No discount. There are no credits. How much do you want to pay this particular supplier? Sometimes you may not want to pay the full amount. If that is the case, key in the amount that you are paying. If you're paying in full, just check on this box over here, and QuickBooks will automatically adjust the amount here. Over here, choose the account from where you are making the payment. But before that, you have got the payment method. Are you doing payment by check or are you doing by cash? Over here, you have the account to choose. Notice that our DTB account appears here. If you have got any bank account that from where you want to make this payment, you will choose on that bank account. If none, you will say add new if it doesn't exist. For now, we are going to use DTB Bank. Once you're done, say pay selected bills. You're done making this payment. Payment has been successfully recorded for the following bill. Do you want to continue paying more bills? Well, notice that you've made this payment using check. Would you want to print this check so that you have a hard copy of it? If yes, say print checks. This will work if you are connected to a printer. If not, say done. I pardon, please. Oh, Brenda. Oh, Brenda. Brenda, I'm done, and I'm very sorry, Brenda. I'm done, and I'm very sorry, Brenda. But don't worry. We are going to do one more example. We are going to do one more example, and you'll master the process. Let's just redo the process again. We are starting right over from creating purchase order. We are starting right over from creating purchase order. And in this case, I want us to create multiple purchase orders for a single supplier. Move over to suppliers. Suppliers, create purchase orders. Suppliers, then create purchase orders. Choose the specific supplier. Say, for instance, a jack. You already know all the information about this, and therefore, I'm not going to pardon about this. Move here and select the items that you are purchasing from a jack. I'm going to purchase Chivas, 100 of them. CPA Masara is late. We are very sorry, CPA Masara, but you will get the recording. Please follow along with us as you wait for the recording. After Chivas, I'm going to order another item from a jack. I want to order Bozoi vodka. Quantity, 5 of them. I'm not going to leave any message. I'm just going to say save and new. Ignore all. That is done. I'm going to make another purchase order from to a jack. I choose the item, say for instance, cognac. And I want to order 10 of cognac. I want to order 10 of cognac. So that's the only thing that I need to order from a jack. I'm going to say save and new. I want to create another purchase order. This is now going to this late man here, CPA Masara. This is now going to this late man, CPA Masara. Over here, I'll key in the items that I need to order from CPA Masara. I need some pipers. How many of them? 10 of them. I need some 10 pipers. From CPA Masara, I also need some KWV brandy. I need 5 of them. I also need something else here. I also need, say, for instance, man of vodka. I need 2 of them. I need 2 of this man of vodka. I will say 7 close now. Ignore all. Ignore all. I'm done creating my purchase orders. I'm done creating my purchase orders. Who is not with me? Please confirm that we are at the same stage. Confirm that we are together. Confirm that we are together before I move on to the next stage. Have you created your purchase orders? 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 Thank you, Madenge. The other people, have you created your purchase orders? Have you created your purchase orders? Have you created your purchase orders? Thank you, Limo. Thank you, Abdullahi, administrator. I can see Maureen wants me to repeat. All right. The other people, please confirm. Please confirm. I wouldn't want to leave somebody behind. I wouldn't want somebody to leave behind. I wouldn't want to leave somebody behind. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Brenda. All right. Thank you, Aloyn. Great, great, great. I can see majority of the people have created. Let's just create one more so that Maureen can follow along. Let's just create one more. Let's just create one more. Let's just create one more. Now, to create your purchase order, move over to suppliers. Create purchase orders. Suppliers, create purchase orders. Over here, choose on the right supplier from where you are creating your purchase order. By clicking on this drop-down, you will see a list of all your suppliers. If the supplier from where you are creating the purchase order is not available in your list, click on Add New. This will lead you to the window from where you will be able to key in the details of your supplier. So I will choose a supplier from here. Say, for instance, Ramadan Distillers. That is the supplier from where I'm making the purchase order. Down here, in this table, this is basically your space to key in the specific items that you are ordering from this supplier, Ramadan Distillers. Click on Item. Click on the drop-down. A list of all your items will be available here. Say, for instance, you are creating a purchase order for an item that is not in existence in your store. Maybe it's a new item. You will click on the option, Add New. If not, it's already available. Just choose on that particular item. For instance, Bozoi Vodka. All the information about your item will pop up here. I want you to notice that the rate that pops up here is not the selling price, please. The rate that pops up here is the one that you keyed in as the cost in your system. In other words, the purchase price. Here, key in the quantity that you want to order. I need, for example, 3 of them. If you need any other item from Ramadan Distillers, click on the drop-down. Over here, select on the item. Make sure to key in the specific quantity that you need. For example, 2. Once you're done keying in the information, if you have any supplier message, please do. For instance, I said, please deliver within 3 days. Please deliver within 3 days. Please deliver within 3 days. Do you have any memo to your customer? If you have it, please do indicate. If not, say 7 close or 7 new if you want to continue creating more purchase orders. For now, I don't want to create any purchase order. I'm going to say 7 close. If you get this pop-up, just ignore all. Now, once we've created our purchase orders, the next step is to receive the items. After receiving the items, we enter the bill. After entering the bill, we make the payment. I want to take you through the long process now. Over here, move over to your suppliers. Then say, receive items. Suppliers, receive items. So click on receive items. Notice, I'm now not receiving the items and entering the bills. I want to receive the items first, then later I will enter bill for received items. So say receive items. Receive items. What is this now? Once you choose on the option receive items, select your supplier from where you are receiving the items. Will Mwalimu recall the suppliers? But what I recall, I have my first supplier, a Jack. By selecting on your supplier, your system should be able to tell you if there are any purchase orders existing for this supplier. You get this pop-up box, no worries, just say yes. This opens the purchase orders that I have against this supplier. Notice that now I have 2 purchase orders against this particular supplier. Which order do I want to receive? I have purchase order number 2 and I have purchase order number 3. In the case where these purchase orders are delivered at different times, for example, purchase order number 2 has been delivered, but purchase order number 3 has not been delivered. The system will open all purchase orders, but you need to select on the appropriate purchase order against which you are receiving the items. For instance, if it is 2, check on this box over here for 2. Just click here. Upper under hii tick, just click here, and that will be automatically adjusted. If both have been delivered, just select both of them. So I'm also going to select on purchase order number 3, like that. Once you are done, click OK. All the information regarding the purchase order for a Jack pops up here. Notice that to the far right, the purchase order number is included. For these products, they are in purchase order number 2. The last product cognac is in purchase order number 3. Notice right now, I have received items. Bill to follow. I haven't done what? I haven't entered the bills. I haven't entered the bills. Say, save and new, because I want to receive more items. So say, save and new. Over here, select on your next supplier from where you want to receive the goods. Click on the drop-down, choose on your supplier. My next supplier was Ramadan Distillers. I'm going to click on Ramadan Distillers. I say yes. Over here, I'm going to receive this particular item of purchase order number 5. So I'll check on this box to receive the item from purchase order number 5. I click OK. This is just to confirm that these are the right details. Once I'm done, I'm going to click Save and New. I have another purchase order that I need to receive. Move over to supplier. Select on your supplier. Now Mwalimu doesn't remember which supplier did I order from. Mwalimu doesn't remember. Let me just check. CPA Masara. I heard CPA Masara. Right. I check on this box. Then I say, okay. I say save and close now. I now say save and close. Now, I'm done receiving all my items. Notice, I've received the items, but I haven't keyed in the bills. I will have to make payment for those items that I've received from my suppliers, because that will reduce the amount that I have in my bank. The next step, I'm going to enter bills. Move over to suppliers, then say, enter bill for received items. Enter bill for received items. Click on that. Enter bill for received items. Select your supplier from which you are entering the bill. Number 1, I had a Jack. Notice that your received items will pop up here. Once you are done, say OK. I have entered that bill. I will enter another bill for my received items. Suppliers, enter bill for received items. I select the supplier. I have CPA Masara. Then I say, OK. Suppliers, enter bill for received items. Who is my next here? Ramadan Distillers. I will say, OK. So I have entered all my bills. The next step is now my suppliers have sent me an invoice, and therefore I need to make payment for those particular bills. Notice the difference between a bill and an expense. A bill is an amount that you've already incurred but you've not made the payment. You will make payment at a later date. But an expense, you make payment instantly. Let me make payment for my bills. I'll move over to suppliers. Suppliers, then I will say pay bills. Suppliers, pay bills now. So I'm going to click on the option, pay bills. Pay bills. Over here, I have the option, show all bills. Show all bills. We have got the date due, the specific supplier, the reference number, and all that information. You can give a filter against which you want to filter your bills. Notice I have got pending bills. Not really. I have got an amount of 471,500 in my bank account. Seemingly, my bills have not reflected in my system. My bills have not reflected on my system. If I select by due date, let me see. By the amounts to pay, my bills are not reflecting here. My bills are not reflecting here. Let me try to work on the filters. Jack, for instance. December 18th December. Let me see this. December. My bills are not reflecting here. Just a moment. Suppliers. Pay bills leads me to the same window. Not really, didn't order from there. Ramadan distillers. Why are my bills not reflecting here? My bills are not reflecting. My bills are not reflecting. Just a moment. Just a moment. My supplier, Jack. Okay. Right. I have an open balance of this against a Jack. So I'm going to say 7 close. It's okay. Right, 7 close. All right. So when I come here to my suppliers, pay bills. Yeah, it's now not Ramadan, it's a Jack. Now I can see the bill. I can now see the bill. Seemingly I made some mistake in entering my bills. The other persons, do you have your bills reflected? Do you have your bills reflected? Do you have your bills reflected?
No.
You don't have your bills reflected, eh?
Yes.
Who had their bills reflected? Thank you, Brenda. Who had their bills reflected? Who had their bills reflected? When you go to pay bills, who have their bills reflected? Who have their bills reflected? Who have their bills reflected? Okay, fine. I bet there must have been some change. There must have been some change in this system because the bills should be able to reflect. Once we move over to suppliers, then pay bills, all the bills should be able to reflect here. All the pending bills should be able to reflect here because the moment you receive your items and then you enter the bill, then that should automatically reflect here. That should automatically reflect here. So I'd advise you to use the other way. Suppliers, then you say receive items and enter bills. Receive items and enter bills. So kindly use that option use that option. For smooth working, use the option receive items and enter bills. Receive items and enter bills. I was trying to move the long way, but seemingly there is some change. All right. Brenda, you simply went over to suppliers, then say receive items and enter bills. Receive items and enter bills. Select the supplier. Maybe for instance, Ramadan Distillers. Open balance here is 1,600. Okay, this is the open balance of 1,600. If you click on it, it will show you where it is coming from. It will show you where the open balance of 1,600 is coming from. It is because of these received items. Okay. So from here, just move down here. Select on any item. This will be automatically adjusted to this open balance. This will be automatically adjusted to the opening balance. Once you are done, say save and close. Now move back to suppliers. Then you say pay bill. Move back to suppliers. Then you say pay bills. Select the respective supplier. The amount will pop up here. Check on the box. For the supplier to whom you want to pay. Once you are done, select the bank from where you want to make the payment. Then say pay selected bills. Then you say pay selected bills. If you pay by check, it will give you this prompt of printing your check. If you want to print, it's okay. If you don't want to print, just say done. How do you treat expenses like water and electricity? Well, we'll come back in our next session probably to look on keying in expenses. In our next session, we'll look at how you work with your office expenses. These are probably office expenses that are not part of maybe expenses related to your suppliers that maybe you need to make a purchase order. So how do you treat such? We'll do that in our next class as we finalize moving on to reports. Now, that is how you create purchase orders, you receive items, and then do that. But then for efficiency, notice that I will advise you to use the option. Once you create your purchase orders, I will advise you for efficiency, receive items and enter bills. It will be more easier. To receive items and enter bills. Did we look at invoicing?
No.
All right. We ought to look at that first before we looked at this, but anyway, yeah, it's okay. Now, to move over or to create an invoice, remember, this is an invoice that you will be creating to your customer. This is an invoice that you will be creating to your customer. And I want you to notice the difference. We have supplier invoice and we have customer invoice. For those who are doing Sage, you may be familiar with this because in Sage, we looked at creating customer invoice and we also looked at creating supplier invoice. Over here in QuickBooks, the story is quite different. You only have the option to create a customer invoice. Notice that for your supplier invoices, what you will have to do for your supplier invoices is to enter bills. So the moment you received the invoice from your supplier, then you are going to enter bill. That will act as your supplier invoice. For the bill, it will have a reference number. Key in the reference number that is there in your supplier invoice. So your supplier invoice, the invoice number can act as your reference number for your bill. That is how you treat supplier invoices. For customer invoices, move over to customers. For customer invoices, move over to customers. From customers, we have got quite a number of options here. Here, we have the option create invoices and we have create batch invoices. Create batch invoices is where you want to create multiple invoices. For now, we only want to create one invoice. Therefore, choose on the option, create invoices. If you do not want to see this information again, you can simply check on this box, do not display this message in the future. Now, maybe just to make you familiar with the information, it says changes to HMRC VAT regulation. As of 1st April 2015, to comply with new HMRC regulations, VAT is calculated on the full amount. If you're offering prompt or early payment discount and your customer pays you early, use a different credit note to record the discount. Now, just like I told you, Quickbooks is a product of UK. HMRC is like KRA in the UK. It means, what is it in full? It is, I think, Her Majesty Revenue Collection. Yeah, I think something was what? Her Majesty Revenue Collection. It is the body in charge of revenue collection in the UK, just like KRA in Kenya. And therefore, don't be worried about this message. Don't be worried about this message. It is basically because of the product that we are using being a UK-based system, and everything is customized. You cannot evade tax in the UK. So this is how everything is customized, and they are able to keep track of your entire system. So if you're using maybe something like Quickbooks online, or maybe you are using maybe a journey software, then you'll be able to choose your country and you will not be having these pop-ups come in. So for the purpose of our class, just bear with this. So if you don't want to see it again, check on this box, do not display this message in the future. Anyway, click OK. Now, what we are doing, we are creating an invoice. We are creating an invoice. For this invoice, choose the specific customer to whom you are sending this invoice. Choose the specific customer to whom you are sending this invoice. Click on the drop-down under Customer Job. A list of all your customers will pop up. If not available, choose on the option Add New. Over here, choose on your respective customer. Say, for example, Brenda. So Brenda is my customer. Choose on the items that Brenda ordered. Choose on the item that Brenda has ordered. Maybe Brenda has ordered Chivas. Brenda has ordered Chivas. Here, the quantity is just beside the item. Just before item, there is a space for quantity. Key in the right quantity that Brenda has ordered. Maybe 2. The rate will automatically be picked up here. Notice that this rate is now the sales price and not the cost price. The total amount to be paid, once you key in the quantity, total amount to be paid will as well be automatically adjusted here. Over here is 1512, which is 756 times 2. If there are more purchase orders, if there are more orders that Brenda is taking, select on more items against which you are billing. Maybe, all right, I'd already done Chivas, maybe Bozoi Vodka, maybe 3 of them. Brenda, I don't know what you're going to do with these ones. I don't know if you're going to sell or what are you going to do with them anyway. Okay. Again, the total amount will be automatically reflected here. The total amount to pay will be automatically reflected here. Over here, you have got the invoice number. You have invoice number. We have purchase order number. So if you have a purchase order number, you will key it in there. Or if it's a sales order, you'll key in the sales order number. Once you're done, if you have a customer message, leave any customer message. Say, for instance, thank you for your business. Thank you for your business. Thank you for your business. If you have a memo, leave in the memo. If you have a memo, leave in the memo. Once you're done, 7 close or 7 new if you want to do more invoices. But before you do that, over here on top, you have different options. You can save this invoice. You can delete it. You can create a copy of this invoice. As well, you can memorize it. Why would you want to memorize an invoice? You'd want to memorize an invoice for ease of access of that particular invoice the following time. Maybe, for instance, Brenda is your constant customer. Brenda purchases goods from you regularly. On a regular basis, maybe on a monthly basis, Brenda always buys 2 Chivas and 3 Black Bozoi vodka. You'd want to receive this, or you'd want to use this invoice periodically. Instead of moving on creating an invoice at all the times, you just want to make adjustments to this simple invoice that you've already created. Therefore, you memorize it. Next time, you simply move over to your memorized invoices, then you can easily access it. You can mark it as pending. You can print it. You can email it. You can attach a file. If, for example, it is coming from a sales order, you may want to attach your sales order to this particular invoice, so as to clearly indicate to Brenda that this invoice is related to this sales order that you made, or it is related to this particular purchase order. Once you are done, you can say 7 close or 7 new. Say 7 close. Ignore all. Let's create one more. Move over to customers. Customers, create invoices. Customers, create invoices. Choose your next customer. Maybe JS Shah. Maybe JS Shah is my next customer. Maybe JS Shah is my next customer. Choose on the items JS Shah is ordering. Maybe I'm selling cognac to JS Shah. I am selling cognac to JS Shah. I am selling cognac to JS Shah. I am selling cognac to JS Shah. Key in the right quantity. Maybe he's purchasing 4 of them. Maybe he's purchasing 4 of them. If there are any other items, select the item. For instance, Smirnoff vodka. Key in the right quantity, maybe 2. If there is any other item, select it, maybe Pipers. Key in the right quantity, maybe 1. I'm done. I'm going to say 7 close. I will ignore all. We have created our invoices. We have created our invoices. Once you create your invoice, remember that's a pending payment. That's a pending payment. And therefore, the moment your client pays you, remember an invoice, you are sending the invoice to demand for payment of goods that were delivered. Once your client has paid you, you need to receive those payments. How do you receive payments against outstanding invoices? Move over to customers. Customers, customers, then say, receive payments. If you want to send a payment reminder to your customer, you can always schedule payment reminders, or you can always send payment reminders. Maybe your client has taken long without paying you, and therefore you want to send a reminder to them. Just come to your system, say payment reminders, then review and send payment reminders, or you can as well schedule. For now, we're not going to look into that. Say receive payments. Receive payments. Receive payments. This payment, you are receiving it from who? Select your specific customer. Click on the drop down. Over here, I'll select Brenda. Notice, the moment I select on Brenda, pending invoice reflects on this box here. Any pending invoice with Brenda will automatically reflect on this space here. What is the payment method that you want to use? Is it cash? Is it check? Or how is Brenda paying you? Here, we have got the payment amount. If Brenda is paying you in full, simply select this. Notice that the payment amount is not yet reflected here because we haven't keyed in here. If Brenda is making part payment, Brenda is supposed to pay a total of 3,087. If they're making part payment, key in here. If not, just check on this invoice by checking on this box over here. The total amount will be automatically reflected. QuickBooks tells you automatically calculate payment. If you do not enter an amount received, QuickBooks automatically calculates the amount as you select each invoice in the table. This automatic calculation is a company preference. Click yes to continue automatically calculating amounts, or click no to turn this preference off. Would you like QuickBooks to continue to calculate payment amounts? That is your preference. I'd say yes. Once you're done, this amount is now automatically reflected here. I want you to notice one thing. As opposed to suppliers, where when you're making payment, your system asks you for the relevant bank account from where you want to make the payment. Notice that with your customers, you are not being asked, where do you want to deposit these funds? Why? By default, QuickBooks sets these funds into an account called undeposited funds. That is done by default. You can always change this later in the preferences. Maybe I will show you later as we move towards the end. For now, just notice that the funds that you are receiving from this particular customer are going to an account called undeposited funds. You can always later on deposit these funds into your bank account. Work for our next class. For now, say 7 new if you want to continue receiving more payments. If no, say 7 close. I will say 7 new. I want to receive another payment from another customer. Received from. Who was my next customer? My next customer was JS Shah. I will select on JS Shah. I will select on JS Shah. JS Shah. The customer balance is 17,015.25. I will select the entire invoice to make sure that I receive all the amount. Please notice, suppose you are not receiving the full amount, kindly come here, indicate the amount that you are receiving. For instance, out of this amount, JS Shah is paying 10,000. So key in 10,000. Key in 10,000. Key in 10,000 as the amount that you are receiving from this particular person. Once you are done, I will say 7 new for a specific reason. There is an amount that is remaining on for this customer. That is why I'm saying 7 new. When I come back over here and I select on JS Shah, notice now that the customer balance is not 17,015, but it is 7,015 now. Assuming this customer has now made full payment of the outstanding balance, I will check on that box, say yes for this. Then I say save and close now, because I'm done receiving payment from all my customers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you receive your payments. If you move over to your list, move to your chart of accounts. You should be able to get your undeposited funds account. It contains all the amount that you are collecting. So your undeposited funds, mine here, contains 900,934. That is the amount that I have collected, that I haven't banked. My DTB bank here has 471,150.
It was.
Is there any question up to that stage? All right. If none, I know you are just from job and you are tired. Let me give you the 7 minutes to make a rest. Maybe you had done your timetable and somebody like Brenda maybe knows that at exactly 8 p.m. she should be starting her kitchen works, and by 8:30 people should be asleep. So kindly use the 7 minutes, finish up your works if any, or if somebody is asking on bill tracker, we'll check on that our next class, Mr. Multiple. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you in our next class. Bye-bye.